Hello, everyone. Welcome to our Wednesday session. This session is going to be kind of a wrap up of some of the skills that we have learned this far, the identification of conclusions and premises, kinds of premises, and the application of the criteria to evaluate the quality of arguments. Our objectives for today are to apply the concepts seen on the topic of argumentation to a case study, practice the skill of identification of premises, and evaluate the quality of arguments in a larger format. For this practice, we are going to have some examples. I am recording this video knowing that there might or might not be a session in the lab, considering the inclement weather possibilities. So if you are at the lab, you are going to be given two pieces of paper that are going to help you with this. If you are not at the lab, but you are at home, then there's going to be a link with a document that you can download and use to complete this practice. In either way, we are going to mark the following statements depending on their function in an argument. If the premise in the argument that we are seeing, we are going to identify if specific statements are the conclusion of the argument or are a premise of the argument. In the case that it is a premise for that argument, we are going to determine if it is a descriptive, prescriptive, analogical, or definitional kind of premise. Let me show you an example. For example, we have this argument: if you want to date successfully, don't get lost talking about yourself and your past, including the mistakes, heartaches, who you were 10 years ago, or even in your last relationship. Studies found that when getting to know somebody in a new relationship, they want to know who you are today, not how you were in a past relationship or lifetime. The research found that telling a person information they don't want to hear will reduce your chances of successfully entering a romantic relationship with them. Naturally, you should be doing your best to increase the likelihood of success in every romantic endeavor. I want you to pause the video for a second and try to see if you can identify the conclusion and the premises. And of course, what kind of premises do you see? Now, of course, we have to separate and identify what are the different statements that we have. In my identification, I see 4 different statements. And from those statements, this is what I have found. The argument starts with the conclusion. That statement that says if you want to date successfully, don't get lost talking about yourself and your past, including the mistakes, heartaches, who you were 10 years ago, or even your last relationship. That is the conclusion. That is what the argument is trying to defend. It is using 3 different premises. And from those premises, 2 are referring to research, and that research is the presentation of some factual information. As you remember, that presentation of factual information are going to be descriptive premises. And one final premise is going to present some kind of value statement, some sort of idea that is suggested, something that might be more opinionated, in that idea that you should be doing your best to increase the likelihood of success in every romantic endeavor. That is the example of a prescriptive premise. That is the exercise that we have done already. So we are going to move on to do that with the next 2 examples. This one, if we were to eat one of 2 animals, different animals, we should eat the less intelligent one over the more intelligent one. Dogs are less intelligent than pigs. Therefore, we should eat dogs rather than pigs if we are to eat one of the 2. The second one is a larger argument. Whenever you get a grin on your face, your brain is releasing serotonin. Serotonin is a chemical that carries messages between nerve cells in the brain and throughout your body. Smiling is a natural way to force yourself to be happy. Many people even smile for 5 minutes straight in the morning to get themselves in a great mood for the day. Seeing a person smile is like enjoying a sunrise. It is a powerful tool that is utilized less and less as we grow older and need happiness more than ever. Just remember that while happiness leads to smiles, smiles also lead to happiness. Hence, one should smile more often. These two are part of either the handout that you received or the file that that you got on the module on Blackboard. If you are on the if you are at the lab, at the computer lab, I encourage you to pause the video at this point, remove your headset, and go to your shoulder partner to try to identify these examples. What is the conclusion, and what are the different kinds of premises that you see there? Our next exercise is try to identify arguments in a larger format. Of course, we are not, this was our practice, trying to see things that were just a couple sentences or just a paragraph, but arguments are, at least good arguments and arguments in more complex issues, are going to present a longer format. So that's why you have either in the file or in the paper, in the sheets that you received, this editorial that is called YouTube, the Great Radicalizer. So what I want you to do there is analyze the content and value of this editorial. Identify the conclusion of the editorial. You're going to either highlight or underline this. You are going to find examples of the 4 kinds of premises in the text. One example would be enough. You don't need to mark all the statements in the reading. Just try to find one descriptive, one prescriptive, one analogical, and one definitional. Just find one example, and you don't need to mark every single statement in the example. After you have done this, I want you to analyze the value of the editorial in terms of clarity, credibility, relevance, completeness, and soundness. Is the editorial clear? Does the editorial have sufficient supporting evidence? Are all the ideas in the editorial relevant to the conclusion? Does the editorial assume information that should be more explicit? Is there anything that the editorial should be saying that is not actually saying? And is the conclusion of the editorial sufficiently supported? Again, I want you to join your shoulder partner or your shoulder partners, try to work in groups to try to complete these exercises. Try to see where are the specific elements in which the argument is doing good or not, and of course the different kinds of premises that we can analyze. The reading, either if you receive the pieces of paper or the file that was presented to you, is going to have paragraphs numbered from 1 to 21. So that is going to help us discuss with our shoulder partners what is going on in a specific paragraph, or how there are specific ideas that are suggesting that things are missing or not missing when we are evaluating the quality of the argument, or if we are trying to identify a kind of premise. That is the exercise that I want us to complete. Please do this in a written way, either in with the file or the pages that you received, because on our session on Monday, I am going to start the session with this specific exercise, and it is important that it is clear so we don't have to go back to clarify more things. This is the moment in which I want you to pause the video and work on the editorial about YouTube, the Great Radicalizer. Finally, with the time that we have left, I want you to work with this video that is going to be also part of the module. It is part of a group that is called the Toronto Debating Society, a group of people that debate for fun and learn about argumentation for fun. And they gather every once in a while. They are presented with topics, and they do not defend their personal opinions. They are just assigned a specific task of things that they have to agree or disagree with, and then they elaborate arguments to support specific conclusions. So I want you to identify the conclusion and the premises and evaluate the quality of the arguments of these two presentations by these two different people that are presenting opposing views. So are there examples of the four kinds of premises? Are they good in terms of clarity, credibility, relevance, completeness, and soundness? Do you agree if the person that won the debate was actually the person that deserved to win because they presented a better argument? Please complete that also with the help of your shoulder partners in the case that you are in the computer lab. That is the exercise for today. It is all about practicing, and I hope that this is helping us a lot in implementing and knowing more about these criteria, so we have a better grasp of what is a good argument, what is something that is sufficiently persuasive for us to accept as a conclusion. We are going to keep on working with this. This is going to be fundamental for future objectives of the class. So please keep particular attention to this. We are gonna move on to other topics next week. So it is important that this is seen, this is clear enough. In the case that it is not clear enough, do not hesitate to send me an email, or you can talk to me on Monday, because it is going to be part of the upcoming test and the reading assignments that we are going to have in the future. Let me know if you need help. Thank you so much for your work.